Hello, Largo community members. Thank you for joining us this evening as we talk about what is on the Largo ballot. Give us a few minutes just to make sure all of our technology is working well, and we'll get started in just a few moments. Thank you again. We're here to talk about the Largo election coming up November 8th and what is on the ballot specifically for our Largo voting residents. So we want to make sure we're taking the time to talk through specifically 3 important ballot questions, an amendment and 2 referendums. And we'll be hearing from Mayor Woody Brown and our city manager, Henry Schubert, today. Henry will be providing an overview of what is on the Largo ballot, and then we will open it up for a Q&A. So please do use the Facebook comment chat to write in any of your questions, and then we'll be happy to answer those after the presentation. I'll be moderating the Q&A, so we have our team in the background reading through every question and making sure that we can get those to Henry to answer about the Largo election. There may be moments where I need to summarize just to make sure we have time to get to all questions if I see that there are several questions on one common theme. Again, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will get started in just a couple minutes. I'm hearing that the technology is looking good. I also want to mention that we will be streaming this not only on Facebook Live, as we will have it available for those that are able to participate this evening, and also folks that maybe missed it tonight but want to look back later on. So please share with friends and family that are Largo voters to come back to this presentation. They can find it on our City of Largo Facebook page, as well as largo.com/live TV. And our Largo TV channels. And we'll have our team put those different channels where you can watch this presentation in the chat. Additionally, largovote.com, which you see on your screen right now, is a great place to find all of that information. You can request a presentation for your own community group, similar to what we're doing this evening, or just find those frequently asked questions, those important voting deadlines. So without further ado, I will ask Mayor Woody Brown to come to the screen and welcome you all here this evening.
Thank you, Julianne, and thank you all for being here this evening. Thank you for being involved in our community. We certainly value your input. And on items like this, we like to make sure that you are well informed. So that's the purpose of this meeting tonight. I'm here really on behalf of the City Commission to thank you for being here. I'd also like to mention, if you're watching this later, like you're not watching it tonight on, what is today, Wednesday night. If you're watching it later, please feel free to reach out with any questions, either to staff, myself, any of the commission. We're pretty well versed in all of these issues, and we're able to give you the reasons that they're on the ballot this coming November. So I'd like to tell you just a little bit about Largo, just in case you're new to Largo and you're just watching this. We're about 85,000 people right in the middle of Pinellas County, and we're about 20 square miles. We're the 3rd largest city in Pinellas County, and we have been around since 1905. We were actually the first council manager form of government in the state of Florida. And we've been running that way ever since. Along those lines, we hire a city manager who runs the day-to-day operations of the city, and that's Mr. Schubert. So he's gonna take it over from here and kind of talk you through the things that will be on the ballot in November. Thank you again for being here, and hopefully you get some answers, some questions answered tonight. Thank you, Henry.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Mr. Mayor said we're going to review what is on the November 8th ballot. So, that's not just City of Largo items, but there's many state and other local races and issues also on that ballot. So very important time to vote. Go to the next slide. So our goals today is really to encourage everyone to vote. In an ideal situation, 100% of all the registered voters would, exercise their rights they have to vote. We want to share with you what is on the ballot, and we want to explain to you what those items really are all about. What does that language mean when you actually look at it on the ballot? So some general election information is here on the screen, but there are some time periods you need to be aware of and deadlines. So deadline to register is October 11th. There's early voting that starts on October 24th and ends on November 6th. And then, of course, as we've already said, Election Day is November 8th. And for those of you who didn't vote by mail or vote early, the polls are open that day from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you need any specific information on how to vote, how you register or to request a mail-in ballot or whatever, please go to votepinellas.gov. That is the website for the supervisor of elections, and there's some great information on there for you. We have, including the mayor, we have 7 members on our city commission. We hold elections on each even numbered year. So this year, 4 of the seats were up for election. 2 of them have already been settled because the candidates were unopposed. So there are still 2 city commission seats that are on the ballot. Each one has 2 candidates. The Chamber of Commerce this year is going to host a candidate forum on October 12th at 6:30 p.m. That's going to be conducted in our City Hall Commission chambers, but it will be broadcast on our cable television channel. It'll be streamed on Facebook, and we'll also have it on our website. And we will record that forum, and we'll show it again many times, I'm sure, on our cable channel, and certainly at any time someone can access it on our website. So that's a great way to meet the candidates virtually or in person if you want to come in person to City Hall that night and learn where they stand on various issues. There are 3 ballot questions that are on that election ballot this year. And I want to emphasize that all 3 of these are separate items. They do not relate to each other at all. There is a charter amendment that exempts the Horizon West Bay project from a requirement in our city charter that any leases of city property or any leases of city buildings that exceed 5 years in length must be approved at referendum. Then there are 2 referendum items, one of which is providing the City Commission authority to grant economic development property tax exemptions, and that's for both new and expanding businesses in the city that provide additional well-paying jobs for the community. And then the other referendum question is a potential authorization to have the city sell some property that we own to Porter Development for development of a sports complex. And now I'm going to go through all 3 of these in detail, but I do want to emphasize that they are 3 completely separate standalone items. So number 1, referendum, providing City Commission with the authority to grant economic development ad valorem tax exemptions. So the ballot language would, pursuant to a provision in the state constitution, would allow the City Commission to grant this tax exemption under certain very defined circumstances, as we've already said, for expansions of existing businesses or for new business that want to locate in the city of Largo that create new jobs. And that period is for 10 years. So they could grant the property tax exemptions up to 10 years. So why now? Well, this exemption has actually been in place for 10 years. The current 10-year period will expire this November. So what we are seeking is a renewal of that exemption for another 10-year period. And this really emphasizes the city's commitment to supporting new and expanded businesses in the community, again, to provide good quality, well-paying jobs for our residents. So what will change if it's passed? Well, it's really a continuation of the authority that the city has already had for the past 10 years. And this exemption is on a case-by-case basis. So when a business wants to relocate to Largo or start a new business, or they want to expand an existing business, they have to apply for this exemption. And it has to obviously be reviewed by the city commission and staff to make certain that it complies with certain standards for creating, again, well-paying jobs. So what happens if it does not pass? Well, if it doesn't pass, then the city commission's authority to grant these exemptions would expire this November. Really the downside of that is that many of our surrounding communities have implemented this program. So the city could be at a disadvantage when trying to encourage business expansion within the city of Largo. During the past 10 years, there's only been one business that's taken advantage of this program, and that was TD SINEX. That was formerly known as Tech Data. They invested $8 million in expanding their campus, and they hired an additional 276 full-time employees at relatively high wages. And that exemption was worth a little over $100,000 over that 10-year period. Okay, the next referendum question is conveyance of city-owned real property to Porter Development, LLC. So what this language does is it authorizes the city commission to sell 87 acres of city-owned property that's located generally north of 8th Avenue Southeast and south of East Bay Drive, a portion of which is a landfill, for fair market value to a company called Porter Development, LLC. And this would be for the development, operation, and maintenance of a privately owned and operated open space recreational sports complex. So it doesn't mandate that the sale be occur. It gives the city commission the authority to sell the property based on a whole lot of other review criteria that I'll mention in a moment. Here is a conceptual site plan of the project. It would include a lagoon. It would include a multi-purpose recreational building of about 170,000 square feet that would provide indoor space for things like volleyball and basketball tournaments. And it would also include a pickleball complex. Some of those pickleball courts would be completely open air and others would be undercover. There would also be a substantial portion of the property that would remain in its natural state. So why now? Well, the city received an unsolicited proposal from this Porter Development Company. They have submitted the proposal for this specific purpose, and I can't overemphasize that it is for a privately owned and operated facility. One of the primary reasons this is on the ballot is that our city charter has a provision that if the city desires to sell any property that it owns that exceeds 1.5 acres in size, that must be approved at referendum. And the most efficient way to do that is during the regularly scheduled general elections. And the next one is obviously this coming November. So when presented with this proposal, the City Commission made the decision to put it on the ballot and let the voters decide if they want to have the City Commission consider selling this property. So what will change if passed? As I've already said, it grants the authority to sell the property. It does not mandate that sale. The redevelopment of the site would be subject to a significant review process by both city staff and the City Commission. The city would enter into what we call a development agreement with the developer that would lay out in great detail exactly what they could build and how they could build it, what the site plan would look like, how it would interact with the surrounding community. There would appraisals would need to be done to determine what the fair market value of the property would be. And then of course there would be a negotiating process between the city and the developer. So what would happen if it does not pass? Well, if it doesn't pass, the city would continue to own the property. This question of the ballot is very specific to Porter Development and the sports complex. So if it fails and any other developer came forward with this idea or any other idea for development of the property, and the City Commission had a desire to entertain that idea, it would have to go back out to referendum. Okay, the next item is a proposed charter amendment that would exempt Horizon West Bay property from the requirement in the city charter for a referendum to lease the commercial space in this project. And I'll get into that in a whole lot more detail. But before we do, we want to, just in case you're not familiar with the project, we have a short video that I think is a great overview of what this project's all about.
Thank you, Henry. As we're getting that video up on the screen, just want to encourage people, you're welcome to put your questions into that Facebook chat stream during the presentation, and then we will answer those and discuss those after the presentation. So please do add any questions you might have on any of these amendments or referendums in that Facebook chat. Thank you.
Imagine, our vision is a building that's more than just City Hall. A space that gives you space. A welcoming public destination that's centered around community. Let's go on a tour and open our imaginations to what's possible with Horizon West Bay. Imagine a truly inviting and accessible public space, both indoors and out, that demonstrates Largo's commitment to sustainability while also transforming and sparking economic development in the downtown area. New retail stores and restaurants for residents to explore and enjoy that inspires community pride. New community gathering space for public meetings, special events, and public art. A green certified project that's designed to be environmentally friendly and responsible, as well as generate renewable energy. The project is designed from community and team member input to ensure the space meets community and organizational needs. Designed to be attractive with health and wellness in mind. Designed to set a standard for future development downtown by being distinctive, contemporary, and timeless. And answering the community's request for more downtown parking. This design reflects the city's intentional alignment with diversity, equity, and inclusion, both in the physical and social space, so that the community can interact with and be a part of their city government organization. When looking at the exterior of Horizon West Bay, you'll notice a 5-story building situated on the north side of West Bay Drive between 4th and 5th Street. Outside features include public parking and a parking garage, retail space for food and beverage shops intended to help create a downtown destination, a water harvesting system, a public plaza and amphitheater, and canopy of solar panels. Step inside the lobby of the new Largo City Hall and discover public meeting and gathering spaces, new safety features for safe and engaging public meetings, and digital signage to help you stay informed. We thank you for imagining what's possible. This rendering is not the final design, and the journey to the new destination still has plenty of roads to travel. Stay engaged, informed, and connected at largo.com/horizon.
This is truly one of the most, probably the most exciting project the city has ever embarked on. As stated in the video, this is in the 400 block on the north side of West Bay Drive. So that's that northwest corner of 4th Street and West Bay. It is what's known as a mixed use project. So it's not just a city hall. The city hall is just a primary tenant. It includes a parking garage. So between the parking garage and the surface parking, we're going to have around 360 parking spaces. The city hall component is approximately 80,000 square feet. But there is going to be retail space available for lease on the ground floor of both the city hall building and the parking garage. And that will total approximately 18,000 square feet. And most of it is actually in the first floor of the parking garage. The city charter currently has a provision that if the city wishes to lease any city-owned property, be it vacant land or a portion of a building, that if the term of that lease exceeds 5 years, then it's required that we get referendum approval. We have learned through discussions with business owners and also the leasing agent that we've contracted with to find tenants for the facility, that to go into space that we're going to be providing in this building, and this is very unfinished space, particularly in the areas where you're going to see hopefully restaurants go in. They really like to have what's known as cold dark space. So the interior is completely unfinished. There is no floor. It's a dirt floor. That makes it very easy for them to locate all of their electrical and plumbing and natural gas lines and all those other things they need to do to set up their kitchen and food service areas and what have you. So in order to recoup their investment or to seek financing for investments, they really need more than 5 years. And we understand that in the business, the typical lease for this type of space is 10 years with 5-year renewal options. So a 5-year limitation without going to referendum is really, we view as a problem. The reason that this commercial space is located in this complex is the city has a vision of an active and interconnected downtown. We really want to spark economic development. We envision that a significant portion of this space will be food and beverage operations. There could be some service businesses located here, possibly some retail, but that would probably be the minor component of the lease space. So what will change if passed? I can't overemphasize the fact that in the city charter, that requirement that leases that extend beyond 5 years require referendum approval. That would continue in the charter. This charter amendment would exempt the Horizon West Bay project and only this project from that provision. So it's real specific to that 400 block on the north side of West Bay Drive. So what happens if it does not pass? Well, the exemption would not be included in our city charter. This particular property would be still subjected to that 5-year limitation on leases without going to referendum. That would limit the city's ability to lease these commercial spaces. Again, a lot of businesses would have difficulty in making significant investments in finishing out the space, and then potentially only having 5 years to recoup their investment. So what the city would probably end up doing is having to incur quite a bit of cost in assisting those businesses in the build out of the space, so that they could make it financially worthwhile for them to locate in this project. So how can you help? Well, we have informational flyers available that you can request from the city. The information you've gained today, we want you to talk to your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers who live here in the city of Largo, and share this information with them. We as the mayor said earlier, we always want people to have the correct information so that you can make an informed decision. And you can also request a presentation to any group that you know of, be it a civic organization, a church group, whatever. We were more than happy to have either myself or another member of staff or the mayor or a member of the city commission to go out, share this PowerPoint presentation with you, and answer any questions that people might have.
Thank you so much, Henry, for providing that overview of what is on the Largo ballot for our Largo voting residents, and for pointing out for those folks that are joining this evening, or those that have friends and family, neighbors, businesses that you frequent, community groups you're a part of, that include Largo voters, to please share that largovote.com. We appreciate those that have joined this evening. We have just a couple comments and questions. There were a few comments specifically about support or opposition to different ballot questions, and we'll leave those in the comment space for folks to see on their own. What we really want to do today with this presentation, with other presentations that are available to give to the community, and with largovote.com, is to really provide those facts, that information of what will happen if it's passed, if not passed, for each of these questions, so folks can make those decisions and choices on their own. We did have one clarification comment question about how the amendment was worded when voted by commission, noting that they didn't think that it explicitly stated sell to Porter Construction. Would you be able to provide any clarification to that, Henry, about how the amendment was presented to commission when it was voted on to be included on the Largo ballot?
Yeah, great question and comment. I guess that's what happens when you have lawyers write these things. But yeah, clearly when it says to convey fee simple title at fair market value, that means the sale of the property to, in this particular case, Porter Development.
Thank you for that clarification and explanation. I know that we've heard at our presentation at the library this past Saturday, and talking with the planning advisory boards, various boards that are led by community members across the city, that some questions have come up different confusions and clarifications, and we have created a frequently asked questions section on that largovote.com, so that when those questions do come up, we are putting them there so that folks can direct others, go back and check again. So definitely check out that frequently asked questions section on largovote.com for any other clarifications that you're looking for, any other questions that can come up. And you see that on your screen here, as well as in the chat. We did have a good group listening in, a few comments, but no other questions as I'm seeing right now. So folks that are still listening in right now, do please, if you have any clarifying questions that are needed on any of these ballot questions, the amendment and the 2 referendums, we really encourage you to take this opportunity to ask those. If not, as the mayor said at the very beginning, you can reach out to the city. connect@largo.com is one place where you can send an email that has any questions that come up for you at a later time. And largovote.com also has ways for you to connect with us and to watch this video, whether on the website, on Facebook Live, or on those TV channels that we have included in the chat as well. And just to repeat those verbally for folks that are listening in, that is cable channel 639, WOW channel 15, and Frontier channel 45. I see a few other questions coming in. Thanks for taking this opportunity. One question is, if the Horizon lease vote does not pass, is it possible that it could jeopardize the project?
No, it would not, in the sense that we have, the design is completed. The city commission has approved the construction contract. There actually is a fence around the 400 block right now. And we are anticipating groundbreaking towards the beginning of October, and maybe mid-October. So the project will move forward. The impact is, you know, what kind of tenants we ultimately be able to attract to the project, and what expense might the city have to bear in order to attract tenants if the exemption does not pass.
Thank you for that clarification. Just going to give folks a couple more minutes. I'll look back to the chat to see if any other questions are coming up. I know we're streaming this on a few places on Facebook, so we'll make sure we're checking all those streams. So please ask any other questions. We'll give you all a few more minutes to take this chance to ask those questions of our city manager, Henry Schubert. All right, we have a question. Will the ballot questions be only for Largo residents, or will they be on the ballot for all of those in Pinellas County?
Only Largo residents.
Thank you. And another question, is there any kind of built-in assurance on price control or special pricing for Largo residents on the proposed sports complex?
No, there is not, because it will be a privately owned and operated business. So that they will have the freedom to establish their own pricing. I believe that they view their biggest customer base as these folks that belong to sports teams, primarily youth, who have tournaments on weekends, and people would probably come from all over the state to, again, on weekends, primarily to participate in those tournaments.
Thank you for that clarification. Seeing if we have any other questions come through on either of our channels. Again, a reminder, I see a few folks joining and a few folks dropping off of the link right now. So just want to let you know we are here talking about a general overview of City of Largo, what's on the Largo ballot election presentation. So this will be for the November 8th election, and some important dates coming up around October 6th. Folks folks should be receiving their mail-in ballots. Early voting starts on October 24th. So this presentation is an opportunity to provide an overview of what is on the ballot for Largo residents, and you'll be able to watch this presentation back on Facebook, on the City of Largo Facebook page, as well as largo.com/live TV, as well as largovote.com, and then our Spectrum, Frontier, and WOW channels, which are also included here in the chat. So taking one last look and not seeing any additional questions, we invite you to share that largovote.com, take a look at frequently asked questions, share those with other friends, family, community groups, businesses that you frequent, to make sure that folks are informed and checking on those questions before they vote. So we appreciate you taking the time to join us this evening. Thank you to City Manager Henry Schubert and Mayor Woody Brown, who welcomed us at the beginning of this call. And we look forward to connecting with you out in the community at the events coming up around town, our public parks and our city facilities. So thank you for joining us this evening, and remember to vote in November. Thank you.